Who came out as the big winner from last night's draft?
Well, listen, I think there's a really good draft. I think there's quite a few good players in this draft. To say one winner, it's hard to pick. Obviously, I think Fultz is going to be really good. I like Lonzo Ball a lot. I really like Josh Jackson going to Phoenix. It's half a dozen so of those guys I think are going to be really, really good players.
Do you look at today's NBA and see teams who are trying to build quality teams through their own vision, or are they trying to match what the Golden State Warriors are doing? And do you think, if it's the latter, that that's wise to do?
I think there are some teams that are trying to build through their own image of who they want to be.
Okay.
I do think that there's some copycat going on with teams trying to emulate Golden State. And as great as Golden State is, I think that's a mistake for some teams to do that. If you don't have the personnel that Golden State has and you're going to try to play their style, they're going to beat you. And so you have to try to create a style that fits your personnel that can compete against Golden State. You can't emulate Golden State and beat them at their own game. It's like somebody getting in the ring with Ali or something and say, I'm gonna try to fight like that. But you're not Ali. And so I just think teams need to try to identify who they are and become the best version of themselves.
Go ahead, Max.
Joe, how much did your experience as a player who was drafted by a team, spent his whole career with that team, did everything they wanted to do, both ends of the floor, but also saw them bring in a guy like Aguirre who was willing to sacrifice and become part of a winning culture, affect, because we're talking about constructing teams here, affect your ability as team president to know who to pick to put you over the top? Like, how do you know a guy like Rasheed Wallace will fit in and be willing to sacrifice ego in certain ways, etc.? How do you identify those guys who will come in and be willing to sacrifice and fit into a culture?
Well, I think you got to look beyond the surface of a guy, especially a guy, let's say a guy like Rasheed. The reason a guy like Rasheed doesn't cause me any concern about acquiring him is because I played with Dennis Rodman. So I understand that you can have guys with these different personalities, wild, and people look at him and go, oh my God, this guy is off the charts.
But in fairness, Dennis Rodman wasn't nearly as wild with you guys, it seemed, as he was with the Bulls.
No, he wasn't, and that's what I'm saying, though. But even though he wasn't at that time, Stephen,
right,
he's still a wild boy. He wasn't a Boy Scout.
I got you.
But to Max's point, it's stuff like that allowed me to know that, you know what, you can still win at the highest level with guys like Rasheed Wallace, because with a guy like Rasheed and a guy like Dennis Rodman, both are extremely unselfish, both are great teammates, both are all about winning. And so, yeah, Max, it did have an impact on me. It also had an impact on the backcourt.
How do
with
you know
Chauncey
that,
and Rip.
though?
Because I saw it work. Because it worked for us, Matt. Because you can't get caught into the hype of what people are saying. I understood, as Stephen just said a little while ago, but before I came on, I understood that I wanted a backcourt that could put the ball in the basket. Why do I know that works, Matt? It's because Isaiah and I kind of did something.
You kind of did that with Vinnie Johnson coming off the bench at third.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So, to Max's point, it absolutely plays a part in how you build a team, because you know what works and what doesn't work.
Go ahead, Jen.
You were talking about Chauncey Billups. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's been in the news a lot lately,
Yeah.
a teammate of ours. With this opportunity in the front office for the Cavaliers, there seems to be a lot of things swirling around the Cavaliers right now. What advice would you give him about that position?
I said this yesterday, I'll say it again today. I think what Chauncey could do for Cleveland is stabilize them and help build the culture that they want. I think sometimes people look at front office executives and they think about, who's he going to draft? Who's he going to sign as free agent? Who's he going to trade for? You can get all those great players in there, and if the culture is messed up, if it's a bad situation there, it doesn't matter how much talent you got, it's not going to work. And I think that's what Chauncey can help.
I'm going to make a statement, and then I'm going to ask a question, because obviously you and I go back many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely.
First, let me be very, very clear. This is one of the great executives this game has seen. You went to 6 straight conference finals, back-to-back NBA Finals, won an NBA championship. You know Rasheed is my boy. I love him dearly. But damn it, I'm still mad at him for not covering Robert Horry in the corner in that second game, in that second NBA Finals. Don't get me started with that.
Absolutely.
But I'm kind of sitting here wondering, knowing the relationship you have with Chauncey Billups, because you brought him to Detroit. We're talking about him getting the job. I love it. Chauncey's a great dude. A lot of guys are great. But I'm thinking about somebody with your resume and your credentials. I'm wondering why I'm not hearing the name Joe Dumars. And I don't want to hear anything about Darko Milicic and you selected him because, listen, the bottom line is simple. You didn't need to get those other guys because the year you didn't draft Melo or Wade or anybody else, you went to back-to-back NBA Finals and won a title. I don't understand why Joe Dumars' name is not getting called for a job in this day and age. It makes no sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
Well, I think it's all about fit. I really do think it's about fit. I think you have to have, when you're running a team, that guy who you choose to run your team, that guy and that owner really do have to be on the same page in terms of vision of what they want for the organization. And so for me, I've said to people consistently about this, when the right fit comes, then it will come. But I don't want to try to force the wrong fit, and I don't want anybody else to try to force
Is
the
the
wrong
analytics movement messing with guys getting opportunities where these owners are focused on these dudes that are focused so much on numbers that really don't have a basketball background? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think with some teams it may. I don't think it's every team in the league. I think, okay, we're talking about Chauncey right here. Obviously, that's not, you know.
Yeah, that's not him. I wasn't talking about Chauncey.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
just saying. So I think with some teams, yes. I think some teams have gone down that road, and they've chosen to go down that road. But I think there are still other teams who are looking to do it in a different way. That's more of what I believe in, what I look forward to. So for me, still, Stephen, I'll go back to this again. I'll say this: it has to be the right fit, man, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're somewhere and the vision is complete. You know, the owner's over here, you're over here. That doesn't work. And so when the right fit comes, it'll come. You know.